What's going on, my planted365 family? Hope you guys had an absolutely great Sunday, man. I just had an awesome, fruitful day with the family. It was awesome, just being here, hanging out. We didn't go to church today. Ranger and Rad were feeling a little bit sick. I had a little something earlier in the week, just stuffed up, but I'm sure I gave it to them. I know it's going around for a lot of people. Um, so yeah, just hung out at the house, but just really tried to delight in being with my family today, just taking it easy, taking it slow today, and just looking in my kids' eyes. It was just awesome to see a lot of the joy, even though they're recovering, and just spending that time with them and just giving them as much attention as I can. I'm not perfect at it. I'm definitely trying to be better at it, definitely trying to give them more attention, more undivided attention, more of my presence, give my wife the same attention that she deserves. And but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Something that I'm conscious of this year. So um, I'm always messing up. My mind is in a million different places. Sometimes I have my phone out when I shouldn't, but really trying to focus on that this year. But what I wanted to chat with you guys tonight about is trust. We just got done watching a movie in bed with the kids and with the fam. It was awesome, and it was about this Rhode Island state trooper, and he's applying to be in part of the K9 unit over and over and over again, like 7 years in a row. And then finally, it's his eighth and final year to be a part of the K9 unit and apply for it. And the basically the sergeant's like, hey, the dogs are 10 grand, we don't have it in the budget. And you haven't made it in the past. I don't think it's a good idea to even try out. You're good at a lot of other things, right? But he has it in his heart that he's going to be part of the K9 unit. But now he needs to go get a dog. So he goes to the shelter, he gets a dog. It's not really a German shepherd, it's like a half border collie, really loud dog, but super smart. And he ends up having to train this dog. And he trains and trains and trains just to get ready for the prerequisite training and the prerequisite classes with the sergeant and with the head canine guy. He ends up failing that, doesn't get in, and then he decides, you know what, I have this in my heart. I've had this dream in my heart for a long time, and I'm not gonna let it go. And this is based on a true story, so it's really cool. And he ends up training the dog on his own, even though he wasn't in the prerequisite training. He takes that manual and now he trains the dog on his own. Eventually, he comes back to the final tryouts and the final testing, and the dog gets in, and the state trooper gets in. Unbelievable comeback story. He does the training himself, takes the test, passes with flying colors, and now this dog, kind of is like one of the best dogs out there for sniffing and smelling, and it's doing its thing, right? And then finally, weeks, months go by, about 3 months go by, and the trooper and the dog are kind of on the shelf, right? All the other more experienced canine units have been deployed. They're out on calls all the time, but he's not really been called out yet because the senior leadership is taking the calls. But then there's one night in the middle of the night where the trooper gets a call, and hey, all the other state troopers and their dogs are busy. We need you. It's a murder scene. They show up to the murder scene, and now it's an opportunity. Is the state trooper truly going to trust his dog? Like, this no longer exercise. It's no longer practice. It's no longer training. Like, it's game time now. Like, this is for real. This is a real murder scene. So they show up. The dog is sniffing. The dog is sniffing. The dog is sniffing. Finally, boom, the dog believes that the body is underneath the porch. And it sits down, it starts barking just like it normally would in all of its training that it's done. And now is an opportunity for the state trooper to say, hey, this is where the body is. But they look underneath the porch and it's just concrete. And they look underneath the porch. Everybody's looking underneath the porch because the dog is saying that the murder victim is underneath the porch. But there's no grass, there's no body, right? There's no body to be seen. So then everybody around him is like, hey, it's your call. Your dog is saying that's underneath there. It's your call to call us off, or to say to go ahead and dig. And this is a pivotal moment. This is a pivotal moment. Does the state trooper trust the dog enough that even though what can't be seen is real, what can't be seen is evidence beneath the surface that the dog is actually right? Is the state trooper going to trust his dog and trust the training that they've been through for months and months and months and months. And at the end of the day, right in that moment, all of these other people peering in on the situations thinking, hey, your dog says the murder victim's here, but there's no evidence of it, right? We can't see the murder victim, right? So now the state trooper is caught in a tough decision. Am I going to trust my dog, or am I going to trust my dog and look foolish because obviously it looks like there's nothing here, or am I not? And in that moment, the state trooper decides, I'm not going to trust the dog. Hey, no murder victim here. We can move on. Little do we know, we come to find out, you know, they leave the scene. Everybody goes home, does their thing. They end up getting a tip from the neighbor, and the neighbor ends up saying, hey, underneath the porch, I think I saw somebody digging sometime. And they end up finding the murder victim. They end up finding them. So the dog was right. So, right now in your faith, in what ways do you trust God when it's in training? Do you trust God when it's convenient? But when push comes to shove, do you really trust Him? When other people are peering in on you, when things don't look, the outcome doesn't look good, do you actually trust God? Do you trust God that He knows what He's doing with your life? Do you trust God that He knows what He's doing with your finances? Do you trust God that He knows what He's doing when He brings you through the fire, when He brings you into situations that you kind of look to the left, you kind of look to the right, you kind of look around, you see everybody's like, hey, I'm not really seeing what you're telling me. I'm not really seeing what you're seeing. But it's not really about what you see. It's not really about what we see. It's what He sees. It's what God sees. So I would challenge you, are you trusting God enough even when the outcome of the situation doesn't look trustable? Are you trusting God in the moments that matter the most? Are you trusting God when it doesn't look like He's in control? When it doesn't look like the body's beneath the surface, right? The dog was right because of the training that they had done. The dog was right that the body was underneath the surface, even though we couldn't see it. So God is the same way. Even though we can't see the way, even though we can't see the path, God is right. He wouldn't lead you to into places, into environments, into things in your life if there wasn't a plan for you. Now, I didn't say He wouldn't lead you into difficult situations. I didn't say he won't lead you into hard times. I didn't say that He won't lead you into difficult relationships. I didn't say that He won't lead you into difficult circumstances. He absolutely will. But you have to trust Him enough to go through the difficult to get to your destiny. You got to trust Him enough to go through the difficult to get to your destiny. You have to go through some things. You have to uncover some things as you go along and trust God even when you can't see it, and have blind faith, and have faith and trust and belief in God, even though what He's doing is so far in front of what we can see. It's past our eyesight, it's past our traditional sight. It's going to take vision. So, in order to trust on another level, you have to exercise this muscle. Hey, when you feel the prompting of the Holy Spirit to pray for somebody, you go and pray. When you feel God is calling on you and consistently showing you things in the Bible, and consistently, putting things in your way that is showing you to do something, you got to start listening. You got to start listening to the Word of God. You got to start listening to people that know you really well. Yesterday, I talked about what words have weight, right? When you're trying to trust God and jump into something that He's calling you to do, even though you can't see the end result, that's a great time to go to the Word of God. That's a great time to go to God, and that's a great time to go to people that also know God, that also know the Word of God, and that also have your best interests at heart, and kind of seek wise counsel. There is wisdom in many counselors, right? That doesn't mean you deploy this to social media, but what you can do is you take it to your inner circle of two, three, four people you might know, or maybe it's just one person that you know really well. And that can help you discern whether or not that that this is the opportunity that God is truly calling you to. And I just have a quick story on this. I met this guy the other day at Costco. I was walking out of Costco, and this is that trust piece. This is exercising that faith. I'm walking out, and I see this employee, and he's sitting um, on the sidewalk, kind of eating a sandwich. And I'm walking by with my cart. I'm trying to get home. I'm trying to get home with the kids. I'm trying to be as fast as I can. And I just feel the prompting of the Holy Spirit. I feel God in that moment say, "Go pray for him." And I'm like, no, no, no. I'm too busy. He doesn't need me. He doesn't need prayer. I don't even know if he's Christian. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Excuse, excuse, excuse. And I get about halfway to my car. Now I'm in the middle of the Costco parking lot, and I stop, and I feel a word on me. If you don't shortchange me, I won't shortchange you. If you don't shortchange me, I won't shortchange you. And I sat there and I sat there and I'm like, all right, what's the worst thing that happens? He says I can't pray for him. I walk right up to him. I saw his name badge. I was like, hey man, I really feel like God is telling me to pray for you. Would that be all right? And he stands up. He goes, man, that's crazy. I'm Christian. I go to a non-denominational church. And he said something. He goes, you know what, man? I'm just really struggling, man. I just don't even know if I'm supposed to be here anymore. I'm not sure if this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And then he said something so profound. He said, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do with my life. It's not even about being here anymore. I'm so lost. I don't even know what to do with my life. And man, right that moment I said, "This God, this is why you prompted me to do this. You're calling me to do your work, and I'm about to leave it alone. No, 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 no. I need to trust you when I feel the prompting of the Spirit and go and do your work." I laid hands on him. I reminded him of who he is in God. I reminded him how valuable he was. I reminded him how special he was, and I prayed for wisdom and discernment over his life. And as I left, I could see that that really touched him. But how many times do we not trust God because it's inconvenient? Do we not trust God because of the scene it's going to cause? Do we not trust God because others around us are looking in at our situation, wondering what we're doing? Right? And those are the main reasons that we don't trust Him, at least that I've found in my life. I don't want to be embarrassed. Like, I don't want to be inconvenienced. And I don't want to be doing things outside of the norm. But screw the norm. If you're going to trust God, you're not going to be the norm. Trusting in Jesus, it says so few will make it to heaven. So few actually know God. So few actually study His Word. So few actually have that opportunity. There's so many people that everybody has the opportunity to know Jesus Christ. Everybody can give their life to Jesus Christ, but not everybody will put Jesus on the throne. Not everybody will do that. And God, at the end of the times, will say, I didn't know you. I didn't know you. So trust God, get to know Him, understand His word, understand His promptings are good for you. They are for you, even when you can't see it. Like God is working and God has a sovereign plan. I say sovereign because sometimes it's not good, sometimes it's not bad for your situation. It's just sovereign, it just is. So to continue to trust God, seek Him and what He's trying to do in your life. I hope this encourages you. Have yourself a blessed day. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out, Planted family. I love y'all. Let's go.